Hey everybody, it's Savannah Taylor, the Gardenista, your kitchen garden coach. And today we are going to do a follow-up on the string beans that I planted this past spring. For those of you who missed that episode, I will absolutely put a link down below of the string beans that I planted. Super simple, excellent thing to plant if you are new to gardening. I actually have already harvested my string beans and I cooked them up. I would have took a picture of what I cooked, but y'all, them kids killed them string beans, okay? Killed them. I cooked them up with some smoked turkey and served them with some barbecue chicken and some yams, and it was really delicious. And of course, you guys can imagine there really is no substitute for fresh homegrown string beans, and this is the string bean plant right here. There really is no substitute for the taste and the flavor that you get from homegrown string beans. You just have to try it. There really is no way to other way to explain it. So if this is something that you would like to try, I'm going to give you a few tips today. But before I do that, I just want to mention, I'm in Southern California, y'all, and it's hot. It's hot, and we are in full blown mosquito season. But you know what? I have been enjoying my spring and my summer just fine. I've been very comfortable in my garden, haven't suffered from mosquito bites or anything because I've been using my essential oils, and I am a member of the doTERRA essential oils community. If you would like to know more about that, I'll put a link down below. But just so you know, doTERRA essential oils are the only essential oils in the world that hold the strictest testing and research standards, and they are also the only essential oils that are the most transparent with the ingredients that they use. So I hope you will definitely check out that link below, and of course, if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than glad to answer those questions for you. So with regards to the string beans, I have my notes here, and you guys, don't be ashamed. If you guys want to share information, don't be ashamed to have your notes. I plant a lot of stuff in my garden, so I always keep notes on strategies, on what I've planted, on best times to plant. Those things are important. Don't be afraid to keep a little journal. I do, and I've been planting and gardening for years. So the first thing that you want to remember with regards to growing string beans is, this is not the only, first of all, this is not the only string bean plant that I have. I actually have a couple more, but you want to plant about 10 to 15 string beans at a time. And even though in my initial video that I had, I did plant a few indoors. I started my seeds indoors, but you can absolutely start your direct sow your seeds if the temperature is right, and I'll talk more about that with regards to the best season and the times. But yeah, you can just take your seeds and just plant them right in the soil. As soon as you see some sprout, you can just direct sow some more, and just to keep it going. And that's a way to keep your harvest continually going if you are in an area where the temperatures will stay consistent for a while. Like I'm in Southern California, so I live in a pretty mild climate, so I can pretty much count on a long growing season. So that's something that I can do. But again, yeah, if that's something that you think you can manage, direct sow. If you feel like you might have to wait, you can absolutely start your seeds indoors. But 10 to 15 seeds, just so you know, that's going to feed about a family of 3. Okay, that's just FYI. All right, the next thing you want to remember is that the average plant is going to give you about 3 to 4 flushes. Now, what is a flush? A flush means that a string bean plant, you're going to see the little flowers. And when you see the flowers, that's a good sign because that means you're going to see the pods. You're going to see the actual string beans. And then once you see the string beans, that's one flush. Okay. And so then you pick those, and then you're going to see flowers again. And then you're going to see the string beans again. That's a second flush. Okay. So one plant is going to give you about 3 to 4 flushes. All right. Okay. All right. The next thing you want, fertilizing. This is a really important thing. So you guys know that I use a lot of compost tea. Compost tea is a very mild, gentle fertilizer. I can use that all the time. But if you are using a something else, a box brand fertilizer, you definitely want to use something that's heavy on nitrogen with fertilizers. Now, I can't really give you a recommendation. You can kind of Google which brands are heavy on nitrogen, but because I do use compost tea, that kind of gives a pretty much a good balance. So I don't really have to measure nitrogen and any other things that come with that. But look for fertilizers that are heavy on nitrogen because string beans do like that. And what you do want to do is you want to fertilize at the time of when you see them sprouting or when they germinate, but definitely when you see them sprouting, that's the time you definitely want to fertilize your string beans. Now, if you're like me and you're using compost tea, you can do that with every watering if you wish, because like I said, it's a very gentle fertilizer. So you can, do that each time. But if you're using, a regular fertilizer, follow the directions, don't over fertilize, okay? Because over fertilizing, and I've said this before, over fertilizing a lot of times will give you big, beautiful leaves with things, but you won't get any fruit. So you want to be careful with that. Okay. So that's the tip on fertilizing. The next thing is, oh gosh, this is so important. Yes, yes, yes. With string beans, you guys, it's going to be tempting to wait until it's all nice and full and then go through and pick them. You don't want to do that with string beans. With string beans, you want to harvest early and you want to harvest often, and I'll tell you why. If you wait until the string beans are on there too long, the string bean plant is going to send a signal that it's done, and that's not what we want. Because like I said before, you can get several flushes out of a string bean plant. So what you want to do is you want to harvest early and you want to harvest often. Now, I'm not talking about harvesting when they're, little babies. I'm saying, when clearly it's the size of a normal string bean. Go ahead and harvest that string bean and go through and make sure that you get them all, the ones that are, regular size. Again, because if you wait too long, it's going to send a signal to the plant to go to seed, and then it's going to stop producing, and that's not something that you want. So harvest early, harvest often, okay? So that's just another little tip with string beans. Okay, the next thing is, oh yes, so with regards to watering, you want to make sure that the soil stays moist. String beans do not like dry soil. Now, notice I said you want the soil to stay moist, not soggy, okay? Because I know sometimes when we hear keep the soil moist, new gardeners want to really go in, okay? You don't want to do that. You just want to make sure that your soil is not dry. And what's a way that you can do that? Because sometimes on the top of the soil, it can look bone dry, but if you stick your finger down in there to the knuckle, and if sometimes it'll still be moist and it'll still be fine, okay? But I'm kind of one of those people, I can look at my soil and I can say, let me add a little bit of water, okay? And now the reason why I'm saying make sure that your soil is moist, because I really can't tell you, depending on where you are in the world, to say, oh, water it twice a day, water it twice a week, 5 times a week. I can't tell you that because you know your environment better than me. Now, I'm in Southern California. I know my season. I'm going to come out here probably about every other day and really soak my plant because we're in a very warm season. And again, I can kind of look at my soil and tell when it needs to be moistened up, not soggy. Okay, so this is actually one of the things that I explain in a video. I talk about the 5 pillars of gardening, and I'll put a link down below to that video. And one of the things I talk about is to know your season, which is pretty, know what zone you're in. You can Google that now. You don't need to buy a farmer's almanac anymore to do that. Know your season. If you know that your nights are consistently cold, if you know that your days start getting consistently warm, get familiar with your seasons so that when you want to grow a particular thing, you already know, okay, I can do that because it's the time I can grow that. Or you know what, it's not quite time I can do that, so let me start those seeds indoors. You know what I mean? Okay, so but with regards to watering, string beans don't like dry soil. So make sure you keep that soil moist, not soggy. Okay, all right. Now, and also, you know, when you keep it moist, you'll get more string beans too. So that's just another little tip. All right, and the final thing is, now string beans are temperature sensitive, and this is kind of what I was referring to earlier when about knowing your season, because if you plant too early and you live in a very cold zone, they'll rot. Okay, the roots will rot, and you don't want that, of course. And then if you start too late, it won't produce. If it's too hot, it won't produce. Now, yes, it's very warm right now, but we're not talking triple digit heat. If it did become triple digit hot, then the advantage that I have of using a grow bag is that I can move it over underneath my patio. And for those of you who aren't familiar with my grow bags, I do sell these in my Amazon store. So they're very advantageous because it gives you a lot of control over the plant environment. I highly recommend grow bags. But again, sometimes in the fall here in Southern California, that's when we get those really, really triple digit hot days. So I'll probably will move it over underneath my patio where it's a little bit cooler, because like I said, if it gets too hot, the plant's going to shut down. Okay. So too cold, it'll rot. Too hot, it'll stop producing. So the temperatures are, you want between 45 and 80 degrees, if you want to just get specific about that. That's why, so wherever you are in the world, between 45 and 80 degrees, that's the sweet spot for string beans. And here in Southern California, I have a pretty long growing season, so I could really kind of direct sow anytime I wanted to. But if you are in a part of the world where you kind of have to maybe wait and time that thing, you can always start those seeds indoors. And again, I'll have a link down below to the video that I did where I did that this past spring. Okay. All right. So again, if you guys are interested in getting these grow bags, check out my Amazon store. If you all have any more questions, feel free to post them down below. I am loving you guys' questions, by the way. I'm loving your enthusiasm to bring back kitchen gardens. This is an excellent thing to do if you are new to gardening. It's so exciting, and they are delicious, by the way. There's just no comparison. And again, let's do this together. Let's enjoy this journey together. I am here for it. All right. All right. So I will see you all again next time when we grow something else. All right. Bye-bye.